Okay, so I'm going to post the solution to two more of the questions from yesterday. These are the two questions that I think I saw the most mistakes and most misconceptions on. So the first question here, we've got this sort of triangle type thing and two parallel lines. We're told that this angle here is 64 and this angle here is 120. And we need to find the sides of A and B. So the first thing about this question is be really, really careful which are your parallel lines. Remember, parallel lines are going to be marked by the arrows. So these two lines are parallel, these two are not. And that seems quite obvious when you're looking at the whole picture. Okay, because what do we know about parallel lines? We know that they always stay the same distance apart and they never meet. And if we look at the picture as a whole, these two lines meet here, they are not parallel. But we can forget that sometimes when we just start looking at part of the picture. When you're looking at part of the picture here, the really common mistake I saw is that these two angles are co-interior. And they are not, because these two lines are not parallel. Now, how do we go about solving something like this? There are many different ways of approaching a question like this, and I'm going to show you a couple of strategies of how to do it. So the first one we can look at, so if we look at this, if we start with trying to find angle A. Now, angle A is on this line and this transversal. Okay, this is the transversal we're looking at. These are the two parallel lines that we're going to be looking at. It's not going to be helpful to compare these two because these aren't parallel lines. This isn't crossing two parallel lines. This one, this transversal, is crossing these two parallel lines. So we're going to get our information for working out A from up here. Now, what can we work out up here? At the moment, 120 and A, they don't really connect. They are, one's on the outside, one's on the inside. They're not alternate, they're not corresponding, they're not co-interior. But around this point here, we can work out the other angles. The first one we can do without any calculation is saying that this angle here is also going to be 120. Why? Because vertically opposite angles are equal. Okay, when you've got an X, two lines crossing, the two opposite angles are going to be equal. So that one's 120, that one's 120. Then we can say, well, here we've got a straight line. Yeah, and what do we know about angles on a straight line? Angles on a straight line add up to 180. So if that one's 126, sorry, I got a mistake there. That should be 126, not 120. 126, then that is going to be 54. And likewise, if that's 54, this one's also going to be 54. Now, when you've got parallel lines and a transversal, everything here, you can just copy and paste down here. Okay, they're all going to match up. These are going to be corresponding, 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 corresponding. Everything around this, we can just take this, copy and paste it down here. So if we take that, then that's going to be 126. That's going to be 126, 54, 54. So our answer is A is 54. Now, remember with these questions, you need to give a reason as well. The reason you can find various different ways. Now you need to look for angles. So you could say that this angle here is vertically opposite, so it's 126. And then these two angles are going to be co-interior. Or you could say angles on a straight line add up to 180, so that's going to be 54. And then these two angles are alternate. Now to find B, we're going to do something similar, but going to take a slightly different approach by looking first at the reason and then at working out the angle. So if we look at B and we try and find what angles it's going to match with. So remember, you've got your parallel lines and your transversal. So the angles here are going to correlate to these angles down here. Now B, it's not co-interior with anything. You can't really make a Z with anything down here, but we could make corresponding angles by going around the side of B, and then what would the corresponding angle be? It would be down here. It would be this angle here. Now, if we could find what this angle here was, then we could work out what B was because they are corresponding. So we're flipping it to how we approach the other angle, A, and we're starting with what the reason is, what type of angle it is. So we're saying I can look for a corresponding angle, and then we're going to go back and find the information. So we're going to look for a corresponding angle here. How do we find this angle? Well, we can see this angle is on a straight line here with 64. So to find this angle, we take it away from 180, which gives us 116. And then because we know corresponding angles are equal, B is also 116. And remember, in your answers, you must give a solution, a reason to get the marks. So you would say, this angle here is 116 because angles on a straight line add up to 180. So B is also 116 because corresponding angles are equal. The second question I'm going to look at is one of the algebraic ones. Now, the key to these ones is spotting what type of angle you've got and then forming an equation to solve it. So how can we test what type of angle we've got? Well, if we draw around either side of the angle, okay, so I'm just colouring in the angle, the two sides, the two lines that make the angle, join them up, we can see here we've got some sort of upside down F. Upside down F means they are going to be corresponding. And what do we know about corresponding angles? They are equal. So if we know that these two angles are equal, we can form an equation, okay? So this angle is going to be equal to that angle. So we can say 2x plus 40 equals 4x minus 20, because those two angles must be the same. Going about solving that equation, but start by getting all your x's to one side, move the smallest x, so take away 2x from each side, we get 40 equals 2x minus 20. And then, sorry, that is meant to be a 10. 2x plus 10 equals that, so that's going to be 10. Then add 20 to each side. We get 2x equals 30. Divide by 2, x equals 15. Now that's all they've asked us to find in this question. They've just asked us to work out x, but the question could say, find the sides of the angles. Now we know what x is, it's just a case of substituting in. And even if they don't ask you to work out the sides of the angles, it's not a bad idea to do it anyway to make sure you're on the same right track. If you're on the right track, when you substitute this value back in, you should get the same answer here and here. So we're going to do that to check it. So if we substitute 15 back into the first equation, we'll get 2 times 15 plus 10, which is 30 plus 10, which is 40. If we substitute it into the second, we're going to get 4 times 15 minus 20. 4 times 15 is 60, minus 20 is 40. Okay, so we've got the same angle for both. That's what we wanted. We're on the right track.